The NAWCQ is a couple weeks away, and I'll tell you one thing. I don't want to be unprepared for any deck going into this tournament. What's going on, you guys? Slim here, bringing you guys a new, quick kind of, I guess, mini-series. Hopefully it'll be a recurring thing every year. We're going to be preparing for the North America World Championship qualifier, and I'm going to give you guys basically a different video every couple days talking about the main decks you're going to encounter at this year's Nationals, what they do, how to beat them, and how to be prepared for them so that they don't kick your ass. And they might still kick your ass. They're probably still going to kick my ass. It just depends, but we're going to be prepared. So episode number 1, you guys already know, it's on Orcust. Yeah. I know this is like beating a dead horse because literally everyone is talking about Orcust, but it really is, you know, the hot topic. It really is the deck that everyone is focusing on. I know my babies Danger Thunder won YCS Knoxville, but everyone could not deny all the different Orcust lists that were around there. We're going to be talking about all kinds of Orcust. Now, here's the thing I'm going to say. I probably don't know every possible version of Orcust that's out there right now, but I'll tell you right now, that engine is so splashable that, I mean, it's made Blackwings insane. It's made ABC insane. It's made Madolches. I mean, there's so many decks that just splash that, like, couple card engine in there, throw in some Phantom Knights, and they're basically ending on the same board that standard Orcust do. It's pretty nuts, but we're going to answer a couple questions first. So first thing we're going to say is, are we going to encounter this deck at the North America World Championship qualifier? Absolutely, and I think it's probably going to be one of the most represented decks. I'm basing that off of Knoxville and also off of the fact of how good the deck really is. The deck started out, you guys already know, as just a simple engine that people would put in there, and, you know, you could do a couple cool things. It basically led to, you know, being able to make Azathoth, stuff like that, Redoer, etc., etc. And now, like the standard Orcust, you know, all it takes is 2 cards. 2 cards, you guys. 2 cards, 2 monsters on the board, you know, Connector Dolphin, Light Stage Candina Corabine, like, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about. Go to Mermaid, you know, you just go off and, you know, you end on a pretty nice board, you know, multiple Fog Blades, you know, Rusty, Galatea, you know, you got your negates. Like, it's pretty nice, I will admit. And I think, you know, it's become like pretty much like one of the main decks that is played. And another thing is that people are wondering, you know, how do I prepare this deck? How do I beat this deck? Now, I didn't want to make this like into like kind of the how to beat series. You know, there's so many videos like that, but it's more so of just you preparing and knowing that, yes, you will face this deck at the North American World Championship qualifier. Those of you who don't know, it's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You already know. So yeah, looking forward to that. Like I said, a couple weeks. So main thing we need to talk about is what are the cards that you need to use that are going to be really effective, you know, against the deck. And I mean, there's no denying it. Best card is Artifact Lancia. Like, that's just like standard knowledge. It is without a doubt one of the best cards. The card just literally basically ends the turn. I kind of view it like a D barrier. You guys remember when Pendulums came out, Dimensional Barrier was basically like skip their turn. Pretty much the same thing. Same thing against Zoo. You know, you just flip it, you know, same thing. And I kind of apply that knowledge and, you know, just that kind of the way it worked in past history Yu-Gi-Oh! That, you know, you just kind of, you know, discard the Lancia, do whatever to get Lancia, and, you know, their turn pretty much ends. And then you're able to follow up. Now, the thing is, you have to make sure that, you know, outside of lancing them, you really need to mount a good comeback. And I say that because, yes, Lancia is extremely strong. Yes, you will, you know, stun them. But you need to make sure that you can come back and set up a board that, you know, basically prevents them from coming back, or basically you win the game on that turn. Like, when you Lancia them, you need to mount a powerful comeback because you will skip their turn in a sense. And I think that's just really important. Lancia is an amazing card, definitely one of the best cards you can use against them. There's a lot of strategies out there that want to be able to play Dweller, and, you know, unfortunately, there's only one deck that really can, and it's Salamangreat. We will do a video on Salamangreat, don't worry. But I just want to talk about the fact that if you're a Salamangreat player, Dweller's pretty nice. Yeah, Dweller shuts down a lot of things. I think Dweller's extremely solid. Some interesting cards that I saw that people were citing that I think are just really, I think have some good applications. You know, there are hand jobs, of course. Everyone's focusing on the Mermaid, you know, Ash the Mermaid. Gamma, I actually really like Gamma. I like the Gamma driver package. I know you run the risk of drawing driver, but it happens. You know, you got to run that risk, you know, high risk, high reward, kind of like Pot of Desires, you know, high risk, high reward. You got to take that into account when preparing for nationals. Is, you know, this is a huge tournament. This is like the tournament of the year, and, you know, the ability to go to Worlds is insane. You know, everyone wants to top nationals. Everyone wants to get in I think it's, what is it, top 6, top 4. I don't know how they're doing it now with the new playoff, but, you know, it's everyone. I think it's almost every player's dream to, you know, top nationals, win nationals, and go to Worlds, because Worlds is, as, you know, as good as it gets. It's the most pristine event. We've talked about this multiple times, but I really think that preparing for the decks is super important. And, cards, like I said, Lancia, amazing. Dweller, if your deck can play it. I think there's only like really one deck that can play it. Hand traps are going to be really important. Hand traps are, always important. Being able to, like I said, Ash, being able to Veiler, being able to Impermanence, all these things will come into effect. And I think you really have to decide, depending on what deck you're playing, is how does your deck utilize hand traps? Can your deck play hand traps? You can also play Phantasmes, stuff like that to, kind of interrupt what they're doing, try to fix your hand to draw into more cards. You can try to draw into your Lancia, stuff like that. Now, people have even asked me, Slim, should I main deck Lancia? No, don't do that. Don't do it unless you're playing Sanctum. Now, that's another thing. I think the Artifact engine is extremely strong against this deck because basically you could flip a Sanctum and get a Lancia and skip their turn, or you could just do the simple Scythe thing and kind of skip their turn. You have so many ways that you could do things, and I think the fact that, it was brought up, I was watching one of Robbie's videos, and like literally he was talking about how someone was citing the entire Artifact engine. That's actually insane. Like, I never even thought of that myself, that, you could use the Scythe, you could use the 3 Sanctums, you could use the 3 Lancias, and you just have a whole just like setup to where that Sanctum can basically stun your opponent, not only with Scythe. Scythe usually gets the job done, but say it just isn't enough, and then you have the Lancia to follow it up, like the game is definitely over, I think, at that point. So that's just something interesting to take into account, is that the cards are just really, really strong against Orcust, and, like I said, there's no denying that it's going to be one of the most represented decks. Now, people are saying, what is going to make it so represented? It's its effectiveness. The deck is extremely strong. The deck is very good at what it does, and, it can play through hand traps, especially because it does main deck Called by the Grave. Another thing is that there are, like I talked about, there are different variants. There's so many different variants. All I'm saying is it's just the Orcust, basically the combo in general. And one thing I'll say is I really liked some of the decks that I saw at Knoxville. You guys already saw like the field spell version that Deuce and Avery played. They're playing cards like Set Rotation. They're playing Mine in the deck. Yeah, they're playing Mystic Mine in the deck. Now, you guys are probably thinking, God, like I already, a lot of you I know don't like that card. Thing is, Mystic Mine gives you the ability to, kind of stall when you kind of break. Like, it gives you that ability to kind of just wait the game out, get your combo going, and, you can combo under Mine, which like literally blew my mind. Like, I was just like, what? Like, realizing like, oh yeah, you actually can. So it's pretty nuts. I think that was a really interesting build that, they played. Set Rotation being an amazing card, locking them out of the field spell, that's super important in the mirror match as well, is how powerful Babel is, and being able to cut them off from Babel is extremely strong. So that's another thing to take into account. And, when it comes like to general side decking, like I said, I've mentioned most of the cards. I'm pretty sure no one is going into the North American World Championship qualifier without 3 Lancia in your side deck. I'm going to tell you right now, that's just an auto, like, 3 of. Like, you literally have 12 slots to fill. Like, that's the honest truth. This is the event where it should have been every event that Orcust has been out. You need to play 3 Lancia. There's no way around it. It is just an insane card, and it, it also can, double up against, like, other decks like Danger Thunder. It can double up against strategies like that try to banish cards. So card is definitely like its whole value. I know this whole video could be about Lancia. You guys already know, I think I always wanted to make just a whole video on Lancia just because I love that card for so long. I'm just really glad that it's become like one of the best, if not the best, side deck cards of the format. But overall, I think like you just need to prepare for this deck. It's going to be in high representation, but like I said, the majority of the room is going to be playing it. And depending on what deck you're playing, you just have to learn to break their board as well. That's another thing, is that their board ending on their negates. Fogblade, very strong card, but at the end of the day, you kind of got to look at it like we looked at Fiendish Chain back in the day. Yes, it does negate your effect. Yes, it does prevent you from attacking. You just need to kind of combat it like that. If your deck is main decking Twin Twisters, that card's amazing, being able to knock those negates out. They do have the Crescendo, so they can negate stuff, but you just have to know how to bait the proper negates. And the thing is, good Orcust players will also know how to properly negate. That is one thing that you need to take into account as well, is the level of players you're going to play at Nationals is pretty high. These are all people that qualified. And people make the argument, oh, well, it's easy to get your invite. Yes and no. It can be easy, it cannot be easy, but I think at the end of the day, like, just being prepared, really focusing on, each deck that you're going to encounter is super important. Like, one of my really good friends, now this is for all the OGs back there that remember my boy Wilson 3Z Inferno. He made in, I want to say it was 2011, 2012, before he unfortunately left us. I miss you, Wilson. I miss you. Please make a YouTube video again for Yugioh. Please come back to Yugioh. That would just be awesome. But he made a series like this, and it actually kind of motivated me to want to do the same thing, to how to prepare for nationals by preparing for the most decks, for the most represented decks that you're going to see. And like I said, this is going to be a multiple video series. Just focusing on the main decks of the format. Of course, I'm going to start with the big four: Orcust, Danger, Thunder, Sky Strikers, and Solomon Greats. You guys should expect those each coming up each day, and it's going to be pretty simple like this, just talking about, will the deck be represented? Absolutely. The simple stuff, you guys should know this by now. Everyone is making top 5, top 10 side deck cards of the format. But, we're going to cover all that, without having to do that. We're basically just going to, just go in and say, okay, prepare for this deck. This is what you're going to face. And, just account for it. Always account for it. That's the biggest thing you can take away. There's an account for every deck that's mentioned in this series, and you will be fine. And design a side deck that, can, use cards that have multiple applications and multiple matchups. And I think that will be the best thing you can do going forward. But yeah, Orcust, you guys, it's probably the deck of the format. I love my Danger Thunders, but I'm telling you right now, with all the success I've seen Orcust have, there's so many variants. Like, there's like 60 card builds, 40 card builds, 55 card builds, 58 card builds. Like, there's so many just random numbers, and it just shows you that, man, you can just kind of throw it all in there, everything in the kitchen sink, just make a bunch of combos, and literally just, that whole combo is just so good that it just makes the deck ending board just, it's ridiculous. And I mean, I love it. Like, I honestly love it. I think it's amazing, the way these decks combo. I really do like combo decks, hate it or love it. I really do like watching the whole sequence of how it goes down. Danger Thunders do their own thing as well, and we'll definitely, I'm going to have fun talking about that deck. But yeah, we're preparing for nationals, you guys. A couple weeks away. I'm going to try to get all these videos out as fast as possible so that you guys have time to watch them, make a playlist of it, and, just really prepare for this stuff. Like I said, I'm not going to make like generic top 5 side deck cards. We're going to cover all that stuff, so definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You guys know what to do. If you did, send me some love. And, as always, and especially for this series, I want to open up the comments. How are you going to prepare for Orcust? What is your side deck strategy going to be besides Lancia? I know Lancia is like the best, but like besides, what's going to be your side deck strategy? Or are you actually playing Orcust? And if you are playing Orcust, how are you preparing for the cards that your opponent is going to side against you? There you go. I think that's definitely something I'd like to hear in the comments. But I hope you guys enjoyed this series. Hit it with 100+ likes. Lets me know that you enjoy it. Lets me know that you want me to continue this series, and I'm really hoping that year by year it'll be something we can do. It'll be a different playlist for every year, and the decks will always change, but it'll be interesting to see what decks will still be around in another year, what new decks we'll have, what new mechanics we may have, and stuff like that. And it's kind of crazy that a whole just like kind of banishing strategy, but like really banishing cards in general, has become such a powerful thing in Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's just awesome. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Send some love, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.